Wes Rucker and Patrick Brown with GoVol 24/7 here with today's No Huddle after practice number 5 of preseason camp. Patrick, I guess first off, just apologies for my voice today. It's a little bit not great. We will work through it. But Tennessee practiced this morning. Patrick, seemed like things are going all right. The start to the day, start to the week. Not quite full pads yet. That comes Wednesday, but look like practice 5 maybe.
Is your voice ever great, Wes? Let's be
No,
honest.
it's worse than normal today, but it's never great.
But yeah, we saw a little bit this morning. Some guys still working their way back in. No major health concerns. Obviously, the big question is going to be at the star position with Jordan Thomas out for the season. Didn't see anything noticeably different. Didn't see any cornerbacks working with the safeties or anything like that. So I think you could see Boo Carter and Christian Harrison maybe get the first real look there. But there's some older guys in that secondary that have been around that know that position a little bit, so we'll see if Tennessee explores more opportunities as camp goes. But it's obviously a big stretch for guys like Boo, who I know a lot of fans are excited about. But him and Christian Harrison have been the main guys at Star, and I think Tennessee is still going to give them a real look. They've got a scrimmage Friday night, and then they could go from there. But they've also got some guys that can just slide down there, and because some of those safety spots in that Star position are a little bit interchangeable, but well, we'll see how that develops over the next few days.
Yeah, some veterans back there who could move around. You know, I could see going through the first scrimmage at least and seeing where things are with that and then moving from that point forward. But in terms of actual stuff out there today on the field, in terms of guys who have been at certain positions, guys we know, Nico Iamaleava, obviously the receivers, still a couple guys dinged up a little bit, but some routes on air stuff today. What do you think you saw from it?
Yeah, we saw some guys throwing on the move a little bit. That was better. There were some downfield shots that Nico was not able to hit, but I mean, he could have been lighting it up after we left for all we know. So not too much stock to put into that. A couple of the offensive linemen that could be in the starting lineup at the start of the season were a little bit limited in some of what they did during drills. So, and Glenn Ellerby after practice talked about how much depth he's got in his room to where he can manage guys if he needs to and plug in some young guys and build some depth.
And in terms of guys who were not out there, guys who were out there, any other injury news and notes of things that we could pick up during the sliver that we're out there?
Go check out our practice observations on the site. That's what I'll say. That.
There you go. Perfect teaser. In terms of after practice, Patrick, we did a lot of talk with the offensive linemen today. It was Glenn Ellerby, and 3 of his old war horses came in there to do some talking. Guys who I think between the 3 of them have about 37 years of college football experience with Cooper Mays and Dane Davis and Jackson Lampley. Highlights from those interviews. I would think probably that a lot of people are going to want to talk about left guard. That's obviously assuming that Hurd and Campbell end up being the tackles as we all expect. We know Mays and Spraggins, if they're healthy, are starting. So left guard seems to be the talking point.
Yeah, that's a spot where Ellerby mentioned 4 guys. I'm trying to make sure I get them right. Andre Carrick, the Texas transfer, who opened the season last year ago as the starting left guard. Jackson Lampley started the last 2 games of last season at right guard when Javonte Spraggins was hurt. Dane Davis, who said he played everywhere in camp this month except for he's played both tackle spots and left guard, has not played center or right guard. So he can do a lot of different things for this offensive line. And then Shamarad Umarov is a redshirt freshman that I think they're excited about. Are they going to put him next to a sophomore? And Lance Hurd on the left side, protecting Nico's blind side? I don't know. But they've got some competition there. They're going to let it roll. Probably the most interesting thing was that Ellerby said that it's been an emphasis from Josh Heupel on down to play more guys on the offensive line. Obviously, we saw Tennessee's offensive line was really beat up by the end of last season. And so they're trying to get as many guys ready to play as they can, and they want to be able to rotate. Ellerby said he's fine rotating guys because it keeps guys fresh, and if you have that depth, go for it. But the main thing he pointed out was that if there's a drop-off, you're a little bit more nervous about doing it. So they got to get some of those second guys. I don't think they're going to take they're not going to take Cooper Mays off the field. They're probably not going to take Javonte Spraggins off the field. May not take any of those guys off the field. They really haven't been a rotating offensive line under the staff, but maybe they have the personnel to do it. We'll see. Maybe that left guard's a spot that they split a couple guys in for that Chattanooga game and then go from there. But that was the most interesting thing to me. And then I asked him about the backup center spot too, and it sounds like it's all young guys right now. I mean, Dane Davis said he hasn't worked at center, but I think he's sort of the safety valve there. They're working Vyson Lang, who's a redshirt freshman, and William Satterwhite, who Ellerby said has come a long way at a high rate over the last several months since he got in the program. I know that probably makes a lot of fans nervous that they might be playing such a young guy as the insurance for Cooper Mays, who's so important to this offense. But they're trying to work with what they got. There's a couple other young guys that are working in there too. But based on what Ellerby said, it's Lang and Satterwhite as the backups to Cooper Mays, and that's been something that Tennessee's been trying to find for not only all this offseason, but all of last offseason as well.
Yeah, it does seem it's been a couple years, really, that's been an ongoing theme, maybe since Jerome Carvin left a couple years ago. But, that's the thing about the depth up front, Patrick. We hear this a lot about offensive line. We've heard it just about every year about wide receiver, going to play more guys, more guys. File me under not really sure until they prove that they're going to do that. That's just not been their MO. But, as you said, there is more depth there.
They have more bodies.
Yes,
we'll see if
you
they
look
get
at the
more
past 3 or 4
depth.
years to now,
Right.
it's a little different.
I remember watching the championship game between Michigan and Washington last in January, and Sharon Moore, who might be in trouble, by the way, with the NCAA, made a point where he went into the season saying, I need 10 guys on the offensive line, because he's an offensive line coach. And if you're Tennessee, you probably feel good about 6 or 7 right now, but who's your 8th and 9th, 10th guy that inevitably you will need? We talked to Dane Davis after practice. He's probably not going to open the season as a starter if everybody's healthy, but inevitably they're going to have to probably plug him in somewhere during the course of the season, because that's just how it goes. And especially in the offensive line, it's easy to get your ankle rolled, hurt a shoulder, anything like that. That's a really tough position, a lot of wear and tear, and so that's why I think Tennessee's emphasizing building more quality depth and getting guys ready to play this season.
Yeah, you may not be the starter anywhere, but you're going to be the backup and the number 2 everywhere. That could be one of those deals. But hey, again, we joked earlier about how long those guys have been here. That stuff helps, right? They've been in the program for a long time. They know this offense, they know the system, so they can plug and play. But the big question still remains, who will be that left guard? And we will see. They put on full pads here on Wednesday, taking Tuesday off, and then Wednesday morning back at it in full pads. And last thing, Pat, it's always a fun day, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always a fun day. The first day in full pads is always a fun day.
Yeah, they get a day off tomorrow to get ready for it, and then they'll be in full pads. Thursday will probably be a lighter day, and then Friday night they will be under the lights at Neyland for a scrimmage.
And we'll be here in full pads hitting each other and talking about it. Guys, we'll see you on Wednesday. For Wes Rucker, Patrick Brown.